Life often places obstacles before us, moments where we are tested, challenged, and even doubted. Yet, history and daily life show us countless examples of women who refuse to be held back, who rise above limitations, and who shine with resilience. What makes them unstoppable is not luck, not privilege, and not external support. It is their habits, the daily choices they cultivate, the inner disciplines they carry, and the mindset they nurture. Let us reflect today on 4 powerful habits that make women truly unstoppable. The first habit is self-belief. A woman who trusts her inner strength can face storms without being shaken. Self-belief is like the roots of a tree. Storms may blow, winds may howl, but if the roots are deep, the tree stands tall. Similarly, when you believe in yourself, the judgments of the world lose their power to dictate your worth. The second habit is consistency. Success is not about one giant leap, but about small, steady steps. When a woman wakes up every day and keeps pushing, whether towards her career, her family, or her inner growth, she builds momentum, and momentum creates miracles. Consistency turns ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes. The third habit is emotional balance. Challenges will come, critics will speak, and circumstances will not always be kind. But when a woman learns to respond rather than react, when she learns to stay calm in chaos, she becomes unshakable. Emotional balance is the anchor that keeps her ship steady even in turbulent seas. The fourth habit is gratitude. Gratitude shifts focus from what is missing to what is present. A grateful heart is not weak, it is strong, because it knows how to see light even in the darkest tunnel. Gratitude empowers women to move forward with positivity, even when the world tries to slow them down. When these 4 habits, self-belief, consistency, emotional balance, and gratitude, become part of a woman's life, she transforms into a force that cannot be stopped. She doesn't just survive, she thrives. She doesn't just walk a path, she creates one for others to follow. That is the power of unstoppable women. Self-belief is perhaps the strongest foundation on which an unstoppable woman builds her life. It is not just a thought that appears once in a while. It is a deep conviction that lives within her heart every single day. When a woman believes in herself, she unlocks a strength that no criticism, no failure, and no rejection can take away. Life will always have people who doubt, who question, who criticize. But self-belief allows her to rise above those voices and stay connected to her true potential. Imagine a tree with deep roots. Storms may come, winds may rage, rains may fall. Yet that tree does not collapse because its roots hold it firmly in the soil. Self-belief is exactly that. It keeps a woman grounded strong and unshaken even when life's storms test her. There are countless women in history and in daily life who prove this. Some were told that their dreams were too big, that their goals were unrealistic, that their place was somewhere else. Yet, they chose not to listen to those limiting voices. They listened to the voice inside them that whispered, "You can." That inner voice became their compass. guiding them when the world tried to push them off course. Self-belief is not arrogance. It is not about thinking one is better than others. It is about knowing that within there lies an untapped reservoir of strength, creativity, and brilliance waiting to be expressed. But self-belief does not appear automatically. It grows when a woman takes small steps of courage. Each time she dares to speak her truth, each time she tries even after failing, each time she learns something new and doesn't give up, she adds another layer to her belief. Over time, this belief becomes unshakable. And the beauty is, once she believes in herself, others begin to believe in her too. The world mirrors the confidence we carry within. When a woman walks into a room with quiet confidence, when she speaks with clarity, when she carries herself with dignity, she does not have to demand respect. It naturally comes to her. Self-belief also changes how challenges are perceived. To someone who lacks it, a setback looks like the end of the road. But to a woman filled with belief, the same setback is only a lesson, a redirection, or a stepping stone. She knows she is capable of starting again, and often, starting again leads her somewhere greater than she imagined. Belief turns failures into fuel, mistakes into wisdom, and obstacles into opportunities. Think of a young girl stepping onto a stage for the first time, her heart pounding, her hands trembling. Without self-belief, she might never walk onto that stage again. But with belief, she tells herself, I can do this. And with that, she may stumble, but she grows. Years later, she may be addressing thousands with ease, inspiring others with her words. What began with a small seed of belief blossomed into greatness. In truth, the world cannot define a woman's worth. She must define it for herself. If she waits for approval, she may wait forever. If she depends on others' recognition, she may never feel complete. But when she builds her life on self-belief, she becomes unstoppable. She no longer needs validation to know her value. She knows it already, and that knowledge gives her wings. Consistency is the silent strength behind every lasting success. While talent, intelligence, and opportunity can give someone a start, it is consistency that ensures progress never stops. For a woman who dreams of building a meaningful life, whether in her career, relationships, or personal growth, consistency becomes her greatest companion. It is not the giant leaps that make her unstoppable, but the small, steady steps she takes day after day, even when no one is watching, even when applause is absent, and even when results take time to appear. Think of a river carving its way through solid rock. The river does not break the stone in one powerful strike. It shapes it gradually through continuous flow. In the same way, a woman who commits herself to daily actions, however small they may seem, shapes her destiny. She knows that greatness is not achieved in a single moment, but in a collection of disciplined choices made consistently over time. Each morning she rises and recommits herself to her goals, not relying on fleeting motivation, but on unwavering discipline. That discipline is what transforms ordinary efforts into extraordinary outcomes. Many people start with enthusiasm but fade when challenges come. They begin a journey with passion, but when obstacles appear, they pause and sometimes stop altogether. But an unstoppable woman understands that challenges are not signs to quit. They are opportunities to prove her persistence. She keeps going, even on days when progress feels invisible, because she knows that the invisible effort of today creates the visible result of tomorrow. Consistency is like planting seeds. At first, nothing seems to change, but with time, patience, and care, a small plant breaks through the soil and eventually becomes a tree that provides shade, fruit, and strength. Consistency also builds trust. When a woman shows up again and again, whether in her responsibilities, relationships, or promises, people begin to rely on her. They know her words are not empty because her actions follow them. This trust is powerful. It makes her presence valuable in every sphere of life. Employers trust her reliability. Family trusts her commitment. Friends trust her sincerity. Her consistency becomes her identity, and her identity becomes her strength. But perhaps the greatest gift of consistency lies in the way it builds inner confidence. Each day she follows through on her commitments. She tells herself, I can be trusted. This quiet trust in herself becomes the foundation of courage to take on greater challenges. A woman who is consistent in small things develops the strength to face bigger responsibilities. For example, a woman who consistently takes time for her health, reading, or skill building finds herself stronger, wiser, and more capable when opportunities arrive. She doesn't need to scramble at the last minute because her preparation has been steady all along. Consistency is not about perfection. There will be days of mistakes, days of exhaustion, days of doubt. But an unstoppable woman does not let those days define her. She understands that missing one step does not erase the journey. What matters is the return, the ability to rise again, to continue, to recommit. Just as the sun rises each day, she too shows up again and again with patience and persistence. Over time, this rhythm becomes a habit, and this habit becomes her power. Emotional balance is one of the most powerful qualities that makes a woman truly unstoppable. Life will never move in a straight line. It brings moments of joy and moments of pain, days of triumph and days of defeat, seasons of laughter and seasons of tears. In all of this, what separates a woman who is shaken from a woman who is steady is her ability to remain balanced. Emotional balance is not about suppressing feelings or pretending to be unaffected. It is about understanding emotions, managing them wisely, and responding instead of reacting. When a woman develops this strength, she becomes like the calm center of a storm, untouched by the chaos around her, yet guiding herself and others safely through it. Every day, situations arise that test this balance. Someone may say words that wound, circumstances may not turn out as expected, or unforeseen challenges may create stress. In such moments, it is natural to feel anger, sadness, or frustration. But the difference lies in choice. A woman who lacks balance may allow those emotions to control her actions, shouting in anger, giving up in despair, or blaming others in frustration. But the woman who cultivates emotional balance pauses, breathes, and chooses her response. She does not deny her feelings, she masters them. This mastery does not happen overnight. It is a habit built through reflection, self-awareness, and patience. Emotional balance also protects energy. Many women drain themselves not because of the weight of their work, but because of the weight of their reactions. Carrying resentment, overthinking criticism, or replaying failures in the mind consumes energy that could be used to grow, create, or love. A balanced woman knows where to place her attention. She chooses not to waste time feeding negativity, but invests her energy in building solutions. That is why she appears strong to others, because she conserves her strength by directing it toward what truly matters. A balanced mind also allows clearer decisions. When emotions dominate, decisions can be impulsive and regrettable. But when balance is present, clarity follows. For example, if someone criticizes her work, instead of breaking down or retaliating, she asks, "Is there truth in this? Can I learn from it?" If yes, she improves. If not, she moves on without bitterness. This ability to separate emotion from action gives her an advantage in every sphere, be it her career, her family, or her relationships. People begin to respect her not just for what she achieves, but for the grace with which she carries herself. And let us not forget, emotional balance is also a gift to others. A balanced woman becomes a source of peace for her children, a pillar of strength for her family, a reliable leader for her team, and an inspiring presence for her community. In her calmness, others find assurance. In her steadiness, others find hope. She becomes like a lighthouse, steady in the storm, shining light for those who are lost. Of course, balance does not mean she never feels pain. She does. But she chooses not to be trapped by it. She allows herself to grieve, but not to be consumed. She allows herself to be angry, but not to be ruled by anger. She allows herself to feel disappointment, but not to abandon hope. Emotional balance teaches her that emotions are visitors. They come and go, but she is the host, and she decides how long they stay. This quality makes her unstoppable, because the world cannot shake someone who has mastered their inner state. When others are distracted by drama, she stays focused. When others are paralyzed by fear, she stays calm. When others give up under stress, she keeps moving forward. Her strength is not just in her actions, but in her ability to remain grounded regardless of external storms. Gratitude is a powerful force that transforms the way a woman sees herself, her life, and the world around her. It is more than just saying, "Thank you," for what she receives. It is a mindset, a perspective, and a habit of focusing on what is present instead of what is missing. Gratitude makes a woman unstoppable because it strengthens her heart with positivity, even when circumstances try to weigh her down. Where others see scarcity, she sees abundance. Where others focus on obstacles, she notices opportunities. Where others complain, she chooses to appreciate. And this shift in perspective gives her the courage to keep moving forward, even in the face of difficulty. Life will always present two realities: the things we have and the things we lack. A woman who lacks gratitude spends her energy worrying about what is not there. She looks at her shortcomings, compares herself with others, and constantly feels behind. This mindset weakens her because it convinces her she is never enough. On the other hand, a woman of gratitude focuses on the blessings she already carries: her skills, her health, her experiences, her relationships. She realizes that even though her journey is not perfect, she already has enough to keep growing. Gratitude builds contentment, and contentment fuels strength. It does not mean she stops striving. It means she strives without bitterness. Gratitude also changes how challenges are experienced. When a setback happens, many people ask, "Why me?" and drown in frustration. But a grateful woman asks, "What can this teach me?" She looks at difficulties not as punishments, but as lessons. She knows that even pain carries hidden gifts, resilience, wisdom, and patience. By holding on to gratitude, she keeps her heart light even in heavy seasons. Instead of being crushed by problems, she learns from them, and in doing so, she grows stronger. Another beauty of gratitude is that it magnifies joy in simple things. An unstoppable woman is not one who owns everything. She is one who finds happiness in the little blessings that others overlook. She can smile at the warmth of the sun, enjoy the laughter of a child, or appreciate a moment of peace after a long day. These small joys accumulate and create a reservoir of positivity that keeps her spirit alive. Gratitude trains her mind to look for light, and where the mind looks, the heart follows. Gratitude also deepens relationships. When a woman consistently expresses appreciation to those around her, her family, friends, colleagues, she builds bonds of trust and affection. People feel valued in her presence. They are more willing to support, cooperate, and love her because her gratitude uplifts them. Instead of taking others for granted, she honors their efforts, and in return, her relationships become sources of strength rather than stress. Most importantly, gratitude strengthens resilience. Life may take things away, but gratitude ensures she never loses sight of what remains. Even when resources are limited, in thee, she is grateful for her skills. Even when friends leave, she is grateful for the lessons they brought. Even when life feels uncertain, she is grateful for the breath in her lungs and the chance to begin again. This mindset makes her unstoppable because nothing can completely break a person who finds reasons to give thanks, no matter how small. A grateful woman carries light wherever she goes. She inspires others to see beauty in their own journeys. She reminds them that while perfection is impossible, appreciation is always available. Her gratitude does not just empower her, it creates ripples of hope in the hearts of others. And that is why gratitude is not a weakness, but a mighty strength. one that makes her shine even brighter in the darkest of times. Habits shape destiny more than talent or external support ever can. Talent can open doors, and support can make the journey smoother, but it is habits that determine whether a woman keeps walking through those doors and whether she can stand strong even when support is absent. Habits are the invisible architects of life. They design our future silently, day after day, action after action. For a woman who wishes to be unstoppable, building empowering habits is far more important than waiting for ideal circumstances. Think of two women who start with the same opportunities. One has incredible talent but lacks discipline. She begins projects with energy but abandons them midway. She dreams big but doesn't consistently act on those dreams. The other woman may not be as naturally gifted, but she has cultivated habits of focus, persistence, and daily effort. Years later, it is often the second woman who has achieved greater success, not because she was more talented, but because her habits carried her forward. Habits become a silent form of self-leadership. They guide actions even when motivation is low. When habits are strong, they replace the need for constant willpower. For example, if a woman builds the habit of learning daily, even if it's just reading 10 minutes a night, she grows wiser over the years without needing extraordinary effort. If she builds the habit of health, eating mindfully, exercising regularly, she doesn't need to fear sudden illnesses as much because her lifestyle has already built her strength. If she builds the habit of discipline in money management, saving consistently, spending wisely, she creates financial stability without needing a windfall. In each of these cases, it is not talent or luck but habits that create long-term results. Habits also protect against external instability. Life often takes unexpected turns. Jobs may be lost, relationships may end, and circumstances may change overnight. But habits remain loyal. A woman who has built habits of resilience and growth doesn't collapse when one path is blocked. She simply applies her habits to a new path. Her daily routine of learning, self-care, and discipline keeps her moving forward, regardless of where life places her. This is what makes her unstoppable. Her power does not depend on external support. It flows from the habits she has cultivated within. Another important aspect of habits is how they shape identity. When a woman repeatedly practices certain actions, she begins to see herself through that lens. For instance, if she builds a habit of writing daily, she begins to see herself as a writer. If she consistently helps others, she begins to embody kindness as part of her identity. This identity, born from habit, then fuels further action. It creates a cycle of growth that no external circumstance can break. Others may doubt her, but her habits constantly affirm who she is becoming. It's important to recognize that negative habits can also shape destiny, but in the opposite direction. Procrastination, self-doubt, unhealthy comparisons, or neglect of self. Care can silently erode a woman's strength. That is why conscious habit building is essential. A woman who wishes to be unstoppable chooses her habits carefully. She asks herself, do my daily actions align with the woman I want to become? If the answer is no, she begins to replace them with habits that empower rather than weaken her. In the end, it is never the occasional burst of brilliance that makes a woman remarkable. It is the quiet, consistent habits that she practices every day, the small things repeated over time, that shape her destiny. While the world may admire talent, applaud achievements, or envy support, the true power lies in the habits she builds when no one is watching. They are the unseen steps that lead her to unstoppable greatness. Challenges are inevitable, but with the right habits, women can rise above them and even transform them into stepping stones for growth. No one in life is spared from difficulties, whether it is financial struggles, health issues, broken relationships, or career setbacks. Yet, the difference between those who are defeated by challenges and those who rise stronger lies not in the absence of problems, but in the presence of empowering habits. When a woman has cultivated habits such as discipline, patience, resilience, and self-reflection, she meets challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for progress. Imagine a mountain climber. The mountain is steep, the air is thin, and the climb is exhausting. But because she has trained her body daily, built strength, and practiced endurance, she can keep going. The mountain doesn't suddenly become easier. It is her preparation that makes it conquerable. In the same way, life's challenges are never easy, but a woman with the right habits is equipped to face them. Habits are her silent armor. They prepare her long before the challenge arrives, so when storms hit, she does not crumble. She bends, but she does not break. Habits also influence mindset. A woman who has built the habit of gratitude, for example, will face setbacks differently than one who constantly complains. Instead of drowning in self-pity, she will ask herself, what lesson can I learn from this? A woman who has the habit of consistency will not abandon her goals when the road gets rough. She will keep showing up, even if progress slows. A woman who has practiced emotional balance will not let anger or fear take over when things go wrong. Instead, she will pause, think, and respond with clarity. These habits turn obstacles into teachers and delays into redirections. Another powerful thing about habits is that they provide stability in unstable times. Challenges often shake the ground beneath us, making life feel uncertain. But a woman who has built solid routines, such as waking up early, journaling, exercising, or meditating, finds an anchor in her habits. No matter how chaotic life becomes, she has a daily rhythm that grounds her. That rhythm gives her a sense of control when everything else feels out of control. It reminds her that, while she may not command external events, she can command herself. There is also a ripple effect. Overcoming one challenge with strong habits builds confidence to face bigger ones. Each time a woman rises above a difficulty, she tells herself, if I could handle that, I can handle this too. This self-assurance compounds over time. Soon, she no longer fears challenges because she knows they are temporary while her habits are permanent. Challenges test her, but habits carry her through. Without the right habits, challenges can paralyze. But with them, they become catalysts for growth. For instance, a woman who practices learning daily might lose a job, but quickly adapt by upgrading her skills. A woman with strong financial habits might face unexpected expenses, but survive without panic because she has savings. A woman with emotional habits of resilience may face betrayal but heal without becoming bitter. In every case, habits decide the outcome more than the challenge itself. This is why women who focus on habits become unstoppable. They are not afraid of what life may bring because they know they are prepared. The storms may be fierce, but the roots they have grown through discipline, patience, and balance are stronger. They rise above challenges, not by avoiding them, but by confronting them with the power they have built within. And in doing so, they turn trials into triumphs, becoming examples of courage and strength for others who are still searching for their own resilience. True power is internal. It comes from mindset and self-discipline, not external validation. Many times, society teaches women to look outside for approval, to seek recognition from family, applause from colleagues, or validation from society. While these can feel rewarding for a moment, they are fragile sources of strength. External validation depends on others' moods, perceptions, and opinions, things beyond our control. When it is given, it may lift us. When it is withheld, it may crush us. But a woman who builds her foundation on internal power cannot be shaken so easily. Her strength comes not from what others say about her, but from what she believes about herself and how disciplined she is in living by her values. Internal power begins with mindset. The way a woman interprets the world determines how she experiences it. For one woman, a setback might feel like the end of the road. For another, the same setback might feel like a detour leading to a better destination. The difference is not the event itself, but the mindset she carries. A positive, growth-oriented mindset gives her the courage to turn failures into lessons, rejections into redirections, and difficulties into opportunities. When she chooses to focus on possibilities instead of limitations, her inner strength grows beyond what external validation could ever provide. Discipline is another pillar of internal power. Without discipline, even the strongest mindset can crumble under pressure. Discipline is the ability to stay committed to a goal long after the excitement has faded. It is the choice to rise early and work when comfort tempts her to stay in bed. It is the choice to hold her tongue when anger provokes her, to save when spending is easier, to persist when giving up seems tempting. A disciplined woman is not controlled by emotions or circumstances. She controls herself. This self-mastery becomes her greatest source of power because no one can take it away. When power is internal, a woman no longer begs for validation. She doesn't need endless compliments to feel beautiful because she already knows her worth. She doesn't need loud applause to feel accomplished because her inner voice whispers, I gave my best. She doesn't need the world's approval to walk her path because her conscience is clear. Such a woman is unstoppable because her fuel is limitless. External approval may add light to her path, but even in its absence, her inner flame continues to burn. This internal power also makes her more resilient to criticism. External validation often comes hand in hand with external criticism. If a woman's confidence depends on others' opinions, then one harsh comment can destroy her spirit. But a woman with internal power listens, reflects, and takes only what helps her grow. She does not allow destructive words to define her. She knows who she is, and that knowledge acts as a shield against negativity. The beauty of internal power is that it inspires others. When people see a woman grounded in her mindset and disciplined in her actions, they feel her strength. They trust her decisions, respect her presence, and admire her calmness. She becomes a role model, not by demanding attention, but by radiating quiet confidence. Others begin to realize that true strength lies not in loudness or recognition, but in inner steadiness. At its core, internal power is freedom. Freedom from the chains of approval. Freedom from the fear of criticism. Freedom from being tossed around by circumstances. It is the kind of power that cannot be stolen, cannot be bought, and cannot be broken. And once a woman discovers this truth, she rises above the need to impress and instead lives to express her authentic self. That is what makes her unstoppable. Her strength is not borrowed, it is built within. These 4 habits enable women to inspire, lead, and open doors for others. The strength of a woman does not stop with her. It naturally spreads to those around her. When she builds herself with self-belief, consistency, emotional balance, and gratitude, she becomes more than just a force for her own growth. She becomes a light for others. Her habits create an atmosphere where inspiration flows, leadership emerges, and opportunities are unlocked not just for herself, but for everyone who witnesses her journey. Inspiration often begins quietly. A young girl watching her mother wake up each day with determination learns resilience without being taught a single word. A colleague observing a woman stay calm under workplace pressure learns that challenges can be handled with grace. A friend seeing her express gratitude even in hardship learns that positivity is a choice, not a condition. A woman's habits silently become lessons for those who watch her. She doesn't need to announce her strength. It shows in how she lives. And that living becomes inspiration for others who might have lost belief in themselves. Leadership, too, is a natural result of these habits. Leadership is not about titles or positions. It is about influence. And influence comes from example. A woman who consistently shows up, keeps her word, and stands firm in her values earns the respect of others. People naturally follow someone they can trust, someone whose life reflects stability, clarity, and purpose. Her emotional balance allows her to guide others without being swayed by chaos. Her gratitude allows her to celebrate her team rather than only herself. Her self-belief gives courage to those who hesitate, and her consistency shows them the power of steady effort. This is leadership that is not demanded, but freely given by those who see her as a source of strength. The most beautiful part is that these habits create ripple effects. A woman who believes in herself encourages others to believe in themselves. A woman who practices gratitude spreads positivity in her home, workplace, or community. A woman who stays consistent builds a culture of reliability, and those around her begin to mirror it. A woman who stays emotionally balanced inspires others to pause and respond rather than react. Bit by bit, her habits unlock the hidden potential in others, reminding them of their own inner power. And then comes the power of opening doors. An unstoppable woman does not rise alone. She lifts others as she climbs. Because she knows the struggles of self-doubt, she encourages other women to speak up. Because she understands the challenge of building consistency, she mentors others to stay steady. Because she has tasted the fruit of gratitude, she reminds those who feel empty to look at the blessings they already have. Her habits give her credibility, and that credibility gives her influence to open opportunities for others who might not yet have found their path. She becomes a bridge between where others are and where they could be. Ultimately, these habits transform her life into a message. Without speaking loudly, she shows others what is possible when one builds the right inner foundation. She teaches that inspiration is not about speeches, but about actions. She proves that leadership is not about control, but about example. She demonstrates that opening doors is not about power, but about generosity. By living her habits, she becomes an unstoppable force who carries many others forward with her. And that is the mark of true greatness. Not only rising alone, but inspiring countless others to rise too.